Welcoming everybody into the latest edition of the USFL podcast player interviews series. Zach coming in here, as always, bringing you the players, coaches, and personalities from around the United States Football League. Today, I bring you our first Showboats player, or you could call it one of our latest in the Bandit series, whichever one you want to call it. It was kind of, he signed on before the news of the Memphis hub was announced, before the Showboats were brought into town. He'll be joining up with Todd Haley's crew out there, and possibly Brady White's going to be slinging the rock to him as well. It is Jeff Ejekam coming in for the Memphis Showboats, wide receiver for the Showboats, former defensive back for the Vegas Nighthawks out of the IFL, and he joins me today on our interview series. Jeff, as with every new player to the USFL, congratulations on your signing and welcome to the league for the 2022 season. How are you doing, man? What's the offseason been like for you since you've been announced joining the roster?
Man, it's been a pleasure, and first and foremost, just thank you for having me on here. Truly appreciate the opportunity just to talk ball and just talk about the story that I've had. Funny enough, and I guess this is what happens when you play both sides of the ball, but I actually got announced as signing as a receiver to the Showboats or to the Bandits, now Showboats, but I actually got signed on the paperwork as a safety. So I'll actually be playing safety with the Showboats. But that's the beauty of being able to play both sides of the ball. I'm a versatile player. So I look forward to just being a part of the organization in Memphis and just getting out there. As far as off-season training, I just finished up with Vegas and the Indoor Football League. So shout out to Coach Mike Davis out there and that whole squad out there. I had a great time out there in Vegas. That was actually my first time playing professional football in 4 years. So I've just been training up to that point just because of my time in the military. I didn't have the opportunity to go play professionally in certain regards. So I finally had that opportunity, and the Vegas team took a shot on me. Coach Mike Davis took a shot on me, and there was no regrets after that. So I had a great time. Just been training with the offseason, just been training hard, staying in the weight room constantly. I love working out, trying to meet new players and even new people that are on their journey as well, and just kind of working out with those folks and just hearing their stories and being motivated in that regard. And also just, processing how amazing this opportunity is to increase my level of play and go to the next stage of my career being in the USFL. So I'm very much blessed and thankful for this opportunity that I have now. And definitely not taking it for granted, definitely busting my tail every day to make sure that I'm going to be the best that I can be on that field when I get to Memphis and, get to the Showboats organization. So it's been great. It's been real great.
I love the attitude. I can't wait to dive into so much of this. I think a lot of people, they go right into it and ask, okay, you look back at the career, military academy instantly. I think it's the first thing if anyone comes up. If you're talking college career, you're like Army, Navy. Wait a minute. We're talking like the traditional, like, I know Navy's a little bit more famous with the triple wishbone or triple option or wishbone setup, but like, you see a receiver for an academy school and you go, hang on a minute. How much work is this guy doing? I mean, how's it playing football and also having to do, in a military academy, at least college setup that you have to do as well at the same time? Because I mean, it's already enough, I think, to at least juggle the college career of it. But you're also training at least with a military school and prep in mind as well.
Yes, it was definitely an experience for sure. Whenever I talk about my career at Army, it was one of the most difficult times, but the most favorable and most compelling times that I needed. It was much needed for me to grow as a person and to grow as a man. I will honestly say that it was something that really gave me structure. I was always kind of a disciplined kid. My parents made sure to raise me the right way, but it was just heightened. And that was the first time that I actually, left the nest. I'm from Houston, Texas. So West Point was far, far away in, upstate New York. So it was the first time that I was really just leaving the nest and really kind of getting my own footing. I've always been a very independent person. I love getting stuff done, but it was kind of that first breaking point of all right, this is really it as an 18-year-old leaving the nest, So as far as the rigorous academics, it's everything that you hear about the academies. West Point is top tier institution for a reason. It is some of the hardest work that I've done in my entire life. And that's even after graduation and becoming a, adult on your own and living on your own. Like West Point was super challenging, but that was something that I really needed to, again, propel myself as a man and as a person. And then adding football to it on a Division I program that, a lot of people look at the academy and they're like, they pat people on the back for their service and everything, but these guys at the academies, man, we are hungry. We are super, super hungry, and we are very talented. Like a lot of people speak on the talent that come out of academies. We've had a good amount of guys actually come out and are playing for teams now in the NFL. So it's amazing what playing football at West Point does for you, because you just get so much thrown at you. And once you're able to absorb that and really hone in on that and become someone that can handle that adversity and just playing in that type of environment, it's like you're going to become somebody that's second to none. You're going to be cream of the crop of anywhere you go. And especially if you're playing wide receiver for these academies, because you're not getting the ball every play. You're pretty much in the trenches every single play. And that's kind of, I honestly feel like that's going to be a testament to why I've seen success playing on defense, because I have that mentality of being in the trenches and not being afraid. I know wide receivers have that notion of being prima donnas on the field and everything like that. Complete opposite when you go to the academies. We pride ourselves at West Point, and this actually was established while I was there, as being the most physical wide receivers in college football. So there are no other receivers, and I can bet my salary on this. There are no other college receivers that are as tough as West Point wide receivers, because we have to be in the trenches every single play. And when our number is called in the pass game, we make that play. So it's a tough job, and it's a very much selfless job. You cannot be a selfish player in this offense, especially at the wide receiver position. So I definitely credit my leadership skills, my tenacity, my aggression, and my want to, and just, I guess, that dog in me. I definitely attested to going to West Point and being part of that football team for sure.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. You have to, I agree. You have to pretty much be the most physical receiver set, but either Army or Navy setup. I feel it's how that works, because I think to me, it's an experience to watch one of those offenses work, in just because it just is so old school. It's a different era of ball, the NFL and the college scene grew through running game first, and just the setups of how can we uniquely find ways to get a rush through the line. And I remember Army actually played Ball State 2 years prior. I'm a Ball State alum, so I went and I had to go watch that game. I think that was if it wasn't homecoming, it was towards the end of the year 2 years prior. And that's just kind of the experience I had. Was you're just watching basically what feels like a decade, like basically turning the clock back almost a few generations, but in a good way. Like if you're a football enthusiast, it's fascinating to watch,
right?
Because you don't expect to see triple option every day like it is.
Right, 100%. And that's kind of what makes it difficult to defend, because of how, I guess, people say dated it is, and really just the intricacies of the offense. Like, you're pretty much not blocking two people every play. So it's 9 on 11 every single time, leaving two people unblocked, reading one, pulling off of that person, and pitching off another. So it's a very, even me being in that offense at the time, like it was difficult. Like, I could only imagine what it would be like playing defense against the triple option. And there was times it was even difficult for me just reading defenses and stuff as a freshman. Like, that was one of the most complicated things, because like I came from a high school in Houston, Texas, in Bel Air High School. We ran gun and we were throwing the ball. We were pretty balanced, but we were pretty much like 60-40, maybe 70-30 pass run. So I'm just out there just trying to catch the ball, trying to get open. At West Point, you sat there and you learned defenses, because you had to know exactly who you were supposed to block when it came to this formation, or when it came to this type of run, or when it came to this type of lineman pulling, or this whatever it may be. It could change in an instant, and a defense can shift their shell in any moment. And you have to be, as an offensive player, you have to be able to know, all right, who's my blocking assignment on this? And then even in the pass game, all right, where should I fit in the zone? And even if they're playing man, how am I going to maneuver around, because they're going to get sucked in by that play action? So it's a lot that you have to go through as from a mental capacity of just learning that offense. So I credit West Point to a lot of my knowledge on football and even just knowledge of the game altogether schematically. So most definitely it was a great experience.
It sounds like it. Before we move on from your West Point experience, I got to ask, in one word, how do you describe the Army Navy game experience?
Indescribable. And the only reason why I say that is that I simply tell everybody before you leave Earth, you have to attend one of those games. The atmosphere is second to none. It's just indescribable. You just have to go see it. You have to go see it.
I'm adding that to my list if it wasn't already there. Let's just hope. I'm hoping someday I can get out there for the end of the year type of thing. It's I think it's one of those. It's one of the most traditional, one of the last I think bastions of traditional college football that's truly I think left in what the scene has changed into now. And I'm glad to get to ask someone about that. Never had a chance to for someone that's played on either side of that rivalry. So, consider me wanting to put that on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. As a player, it was an amazing experience, and even I stayed 1 year to be a grad assistant for the preparatory school, and I was able to experience it as a fan, and that was just electric. And it literally felt like I was still in the game playing, just the atmosphere being there. So definitely something that everybody should have on their bucket list for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think you're hinting. I think post your football career, at least with our Army, you have a service requirement with the military academies, right? And I understand you recently just finished that up with the Army, correct?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the process of transitioning. So it's just like a lot of like moving pieces and parts, but I'm pretty much done with my obligation. And that's why I've been allowed to be able to make these maneuvers of pursuing my career in the professional side of things of the football spectrum. But yeah, you have a service obligation, which this rule has changed frequently between the year that I've graduated, even the time that I was there, all the way up until now. Like the rule has fluctuated left and right, and that's just kind of the way it is. And what we have to deal with as service academy players, because 1 year you may be thinking, all right, this is my year that I'm going to be able to get drafted, and then boom, the rule changes to where no, you have to serve your obligation, and then another year it'll be like, all right, you're able to defer your service and go straight into the league and do this type of thing. So it's definitely something that can be a little chaotic, but at the end of the day, if you really want it bad enough, you're going to find a way to get there. But I will say that the process was definitely challenging, especially if you are someone that is as talented to be able to make it to the next level. It's tough, especially like I think a recent story we had was Andre Carter. He's actually projected to be a first-round pick, maybe early second-round pick, and he was almost denied the ability to go into the draft. And that's tough. That's somebody that can be missing out on a large sum of money, setting themselves up in a different type of light. And, it's just, to go through that, I can only imagine. I didn't have that privilege of having that type of, news or whatever around me, but to have somebody and see somebody going through that and know other players that have had to go through it, it's tough. It definitely is. So, yeah, thankfully, I've done my time, I've served, so I can, look forward to just continuing my football career and my entrepreneurial career moving forward. So it's definitely been a journey in my Army career, and I've learned a lot, but I'm ready to go into this next phase of full-time professional football. So.
Right. And I mean, you already touched into that with the IFL, talk about first experience getting into a more professional setting. You jump into the 50-yard game, arguably the largest league of that nature, playing, listed as two ways, though, playing a lot of defensive ball, which I mean, credit, you, as you've said, you have a background defensively playing free safety anyway. So it makes sense. Was it kind of like getting back on the horse here with kind of playing defensive back and just kind of getting out there? Or was it more like second nature for you?
Yeah.
Just because of that?
Yeah, so high school, I was a two-way player as well. My senior year of high school, I was a free safety in high school as well as a wide receiver, H-back, tight end, you name it. I've been all over the field. And even in college, I primarily played wide receiver. I never really played any defense in college, but I was on almost every single special teams, from being on kickoff return, being a holder sometimes in practice. Sometimes in practice, I'd return punts, return kicks. So like the versatility has always been there throughout my football career. So when I got to Vegas, I signed as a wide receiver, came in there. We had talented guys at the receiver spot, Jordan McCray from Oklahoma State, KD Cannon from Baylor, just
Okay.
some phenomenal talent all across the board. Frank Brown from Bethune-Cookman. Like, it was a whole bunch of players that I had on there. And I, like, I never shy away from competition, but, you got to play the best players and where they fit the best. I came in there mid-season. Those guys were already seasoned in there, as well as being in the offense and knowing the plays.
Right,
So
right.
going in there, I got my opportunity to play. And I made the best of my opportunity, but it just came down to a lot of injuries. And in the IFL, you can only have a certain amount of players on the roster. So, Coach Davis was just figuring out who can we move around to, essentially be able to service for both the offense and maybe the defense. And my name came up in the hat. And immediately, as soon as I made that transition to defense, I made an immediate impact on the defense, leading the team in tackles the first game I started, and just, being a force in that game. And so ever since that, it was just kind of like, okay, we're going to make sure this guy gets reps at this defensive spot. And lo and behold, the Memphis Showboats saw that in me, and that's why they wanted to sign me as a safety rather than being a receiver. But again, the thing that I love about my game and just the player that I am is that I'm super versatile. So I tell people all the time, they say, oh, what position do you play? And it almost feels like it switches every year or every phase of my life in this football career. But it's just, I've just told people I'm a football player. Wherever you need me on the field, I'm going to get the job done. So
If you didn't say it, I was going to. It's like it's such a normal line I've heard is, hey, put me somewhere. I'll be a contributor for you. You know,
100%.
it's like it's almost like it's almost like special teams mentality too. I just want to go play ball. So
Right. Right.
go hit the grindstone, get my nose dirty. I
Yeah.
completely.
I genuinely just love playing football. And that's the thing. Like, if you were to talk to me in high school, I was, funny story is they actually wanted to switch me full-time safety, no offense, my senior year of high school. At
Okay.
the time, I was like 6'1", 190. So pretty large kid to be a high school safety. And I was just so stubborn. I was like, well, I'm an offensive player. I wanted the glamour, the touchdowns and all that. But looking back on it, if I would have made that switch, I probably would be looking at a couple of different other schools other than just West Point. I never lived with any regrets. I loved my time at West Point. It was very much my path that I think that was laid out for me by God. And at the end of the day, I'm here now, so it doesn't matter. But
Mm-hmm.
now in my professional career, it's no longer, oh, I'm a receiver, I'm this, I'm that. No, I'm a football player. Wherever you need me to play, I'm going to do. Wherever the team needs me to excel at, that's where I'm going to excel. So that's what I tell coaches all the time. I was like, it doesn't matter where you put me. I'm going to make an impact no matter what. So.
Oh yeah. Now here's something I always have to ask players, no matter where I'm at. First off, had you ever heard of the arena indoor game before kind of joining up with it? And if you had, I mean, did you get what you expected out of it in terms of like, padded walls, like you got padded in terms of like wrestling mat style floors, 50 yards, quick game. You got next play mentality. Yeah, they just scored, but we're going to have them score on the other side, type of deal.
Yeah, it was definitely. So I've actually seen arena football, and I as a kid, you'll play Madden, and like you could play with the arena teams on Madden and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And never in my life did I ever think that I would be playing arena football by any means. So when I got there, it was a big adjustment. Not only have I not played football, period, for 4 years, but now I'm starting off an arena league that I've never played where the field is condensed. I've never played where the field almost feels like carpet. I've never played where the field has walls on it and stuff. It was just completely different, spacing wise, route running, playing coverage. It's just completely different as far as just like, it was a mind-blowing game. And just like you said, the speed of the game is unreal. Like, you are literally play after play after play after play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, games go up to 70, 80 points. And I'm just like, this is insane. Like, you tell somebody, I remember talking to a lot of my friends when I'm in Vegas back home and stuff. And then they'll be like, oh, so what was the score of the last game? And I'll be like, oh, it was 75-34. And they're like, what in the world? I'm like, yeah, man, that's a typical game. Like, that's pretty much about what it goes like. So it was definitely an adjustment. But thank God I have a pretty good learning curve. So it's just a matter of just staying diligent. I worked with my coaches and just really wanted to be a contributor to the team. So I said, I need to go ahead. If I'm not feeling comfortable, I need to get comfortable real fast and, just talking with teammates, coaches, I ended up picking up pretty well. And then just the biggest thing about arena football that people don't get, I don't know why, is it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun playing.
So I've heard.
I am not going to lie. And Vegas might have been one of the best places for me to end up because just the fan base, the antics. We had touchdown celebrations where we had money guns and bubble blowers and could throw footballs in the stands. It was just an amazing experience. Like, you really were having fun playing football, where, some players, they get to the state in the mind where it's just like, oh, it's a grind, it's a grind. I genuinely had fun playing football, and it brought football back to life for me in one of the ways that I couldn't even imagine. So it was definitely an experience for sure.
I mean, you're adding a crazy game like that to a Las Vegas market.
Right.
So you got to pull out all the stops. Look, I've seen a Golden Knights game in my life over there at T-Mobile Arena. You have to add extra flair. You can't just be a standard sports team in Las Vegas.
It is amazing. It is amazing what the Foley Entertainment Company does in Vegas with the Golden Knights, Silver Knights, and now the Nighthawks. And now they just added the United team in the G League.
That's right.
That atmosphere is just, being in Vegas was definitely, like, I just saw a lot just from the sports industry and just the entertainment piece. And like I said, it really made football like super fun, it's always been fun for me, but I just saw a different level of fun playing football in Vegas. I'm not even gonna lie. So.
Well, I mean, talk about a blast. I mean, look, you get a good blast to start out your professional career. Now, well, let's talk USFL here. So, Dave Razzano, GM for the Bandits, signs you on at least to Tampa Bay. Before things go kind of switcheroo on you, and now you're in Memphis. I know the league, you're working some things out. But the Showboats, you're going to be playing in Memphis, Tennessee. You'll be on the home roster squad. I see a lot of hungry Memphis fans online that are talking about this, and they're ready to get people there. I mean, you might have looked up. Memphis has a bit of a history with some alt football leagues. The Showboats, the original, the OG as we call them, they do have a pretty core, decent following of guys that are, let's just say, very ecstatic at the least to see this team return.
100%, and I'm so excited. Just even when the rebrand came to life, and I just saw on all social media platforms how it just blew up, how the city of Memphis is just welcoming us with open arms. Press conference was amazing. It really just got me fired up just to be in the city of Memphis. And I'm so excited to play and be the home team for our hub, and it's going to be amazing. I'm ecstatic. Like the city of Memphis is just, I've been even looking up spots that I need to eat and all sorts of stuff like that. And I know it's good eats. And I'm from Texas, our barbecue is pretty good. And I heard some Memphis barbecue is pretty good too. So I'm very excited to get the barbecue down there. But most importantly, I'm just so excited to be back outdoors playing football, and especially with a fan base like the Showboats and being in Memphis. I really cannot wait. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, that one should be fun. Get to play in Liberty Bowl as well. A lot of history there too in that city for that venue. So it should be a blast. Like I said, in the social media interaction, you're not wrong. It has been very well received so far. And there's more to come. You still need to know what the uniform looks like, for crying out loud. That's what a lot of people are waiting on. What's that uniform looking like? What's the helmet logo?
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that too. Just trying to stay patient, not trying to, budge anything or anything. We're gonna be like, patience is a virtue. So I know it's gonna be perfect when they come out. So
yeah, it should be good. I'm excited for you, excited for players going down there. I'd love to get a little word on this. I think just mainly because you commented on this the other day, league ratified its CBA. I saw you very enthusiastic about, plenty of players were, but I definitely saw you put your own point on there, of course, about the CBA and just how it was a win for the players. I mean, would you care just to elaborate for yourself how you feel about having that backing coming into the league for this year?
And like, I mean, it's what the UFPA and the United Steelworkers do is amazing. I've actually been working with them for a while, even before I even got into my pro career. I was just training for free agency stuff. Like, I had a couple workouts with NFL teams here and there throughout the 4 years that I didn't play, but I worked very closely with Ken Farrow, who's a good friend of mine. He actually signed with the Renegade out in the XFL.
Right.
And we've been in touch ever since I was at West Point up until now. And just the things that he had in mind with the UFPA. I was all for it. I told him anything that he needed from me, I would send other players to go to the page and make sure that they're being very interactive with the page and being and really tuning into what this association is doing, because they've done a lot of good things over the years. So the reason why I said it was a big win for the players is because now we've established a true backing for the players with this association with the United Steelworkers. And it's just awesome to have. And it's really good for the league because it just makes the league more fun. It makes us, lets the players kind of, I don't want to say relax, but it gives us a sense of security and feels like that, okay, now we can go out there and let loose and really play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Because, you never know with this sport, man, especially with just what recently happened. It's just, you want to be able to have that backing and security while doing this, because, if you're someone like me, we love playing the game. We love doing what we do, but, that security also helps a lot too. So I think the CBA was ecstatic. I've talked to other players and they're very ecstatic about it. So again, a win for the players, but also just a win for the league, because it's just going to bring everything together,
As a guy or a kid that was raised in a union family and who also worked for the laborers for a few years, you also get that brotherhood now too, a little bit more, stronger bond player to player. I think that also adds into that. So,
100%.
a little bit more camaraderie. You talk the camaraderie, so you're only enhancing that, I feel, with this year. And like I said, it's nice that you're going to Memphis. You get some security with housing with that deal too, which has been a massive win.
Yep.
So plenty has been said about that. So that's a great point for you guys, and you get to take home a decent amount of change too.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, with a sport like this, it's just, again, it's a blessing to be able to step on that field every single time. So being compensated for that in that way is definitely gratifying. And especially even for me, as I came from the IFL, which the pay was significantly less than this, but like just being able to come up, and I'm not even a guy that really even does football for the money by any means, but I know there's guys that, they have families to feed. They have
Right.
they have to do. So it's just knowing and feeling the pain and suffering that those guys have to go through, and seeing that we're able to elevate and help them, it just warms my heart. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I truly look forward to just how the league is going to continue to grow and continue to excel with the backing of the United Steelworkers and the UFPA. So
yeah, it's a great start. I was glad to see it. Obviously it was announced the ratification vote came up, and so hearing 100% of the players voted that were eligible to vote did vote, and nail down that vote was great. So
right.
love hearing that. Jeff, thanks for joining the show, man. Appreciate the time. I guess I want one last thing before you go, because you're talking, you're searching up food venues and stuff for Memphis. I just want to just have a little fun here. You a music guy? You like the blues? You gonna look for some clubs down there?
Man, I'm trying to go down there strictly for business purposes, and that's taking care of business on the field. But I am someone that loves to travel. I travel a lot. So with the free time that I do have, I'm definitely going to try to check out some blues clubs, or maybe even just, again, the eatery. I love to eat. I'm not going to lie. I'm a guy that loves to eat. So I definitely want to check out the eatery. I'm also a real estate investor, so I would love to see what the real estate market looks like out there. And I've heard great things about the real estate market in Memphis and stuff like that. So I'm definitely excited just to see what the city has to offer, because as somebody that travels a good amount, it's just, so much of the world, so much of where you travel to, like, you never know what you can see until you go. So I'm just super excited. I've never actually been to Memphis, so I'm very excited to see what the city has to offer. And again, with the fan base being the way it is, I'm already excited just to be welcomed with open arms there, and again, to reciprocate that love to the organization and to the city for sure.
Oh, look at you too. I was wondering what the entrepreneurial section was, and hey, real estate game, you're gonna be, you have the choice after the game ready for you and all set to go.
Yeah, I do a couple things. So real estate investing is one. I'm the CEO of this platform called the Grandeur Society, which is a platform that talks about investing holistically, not just financially, but just mind, body, spirit, and finances. We try to pull people in and like show them the way of, like, all right, this is how life is supposed to be lived. And the way I like to kind of umbrella it is, it's a lifestyle branding platform, to where it's like, we're going to show you the way of how to do these things correctly, whether it be finance, budgeting, your credit score, whatever, just changing your mindset from being consumer to investor or producer. We try to make these things happen for people because a lot of people just kind of go through life by the wayside and don't see their full potential until they really tap into it. So we try to get that, we try to pull that strength out of people and pull that leverage and say, hey, you can do more than what you think you are. And a quote that I love to live by is do more than just exist. And that's what that platform at the Grandeur Society does, is we try to elevate people to do more than just simply exist. So
nice. I'll have to take a look at that on the side here, build my funds.
100%,
get myself a little bit more active in there for that market, I guess. But
100%.
I'll definitely, we'll try and tag on that, or get a link over there. Highlight a bit of your passions and works outside of the football as well. But otherwise, though, Jeff, thanks for the time. Really wishing you the best. Looking forward to seeing you play safety, by the way. Just got to finish the episode also reclarifying, even with the signing transaction. But going to be looking forward to seeing you roaming the secondary this coming season and playing out there at the Liberty Bowl.
Yes, sir. And I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's a blessing being here. And hey, it's showtime. Go Showboats.